tonight's the night. Well, actually, no, today is the day. What I'm doing in this video is I'm making a box that's meant to replicate the blood slide box that Dexter has in the series, where he keeps the blood slides that he collects from his victims, except I'm putting the Bluray collection, 24 discs from that, in the box instead, since I don't actually kill anybody yet. And I'm going to be making the box from something reasonably interesting anyway. It's an old wooden threshold from a door that I removed from my house. And I'm not entirely certain what type of wood this is, but I do know that it's well seasoned because it's been sitting in my shed for the last 5 years drying out. I'm not going to do a lot of talking in this because it's mostly self-explanatory, but I will break in every once in a while to point something out. I'm going to send this wood through the planer, but before that I want to get this paint off. There are several coats on here, including a very interesting looking green. I'm pretty sure that'll be hard on the cutters in my planer. After all that work to dimension the parts for the box, I'm going to be putting it together with box joints in the corners, and to do that I'm going to be using my ultimate box joint jig, and I've got that set up to use a single blade to cut a 1/8 inch box joint. I've been asked about this blade before. What you need is one that cuts a 1/8 inch kerf that matches that 1/8 inch box joint, which matches the 1/8 inch travel of the jig. And the particular blade that I have here is ground flat on the top. It's an FTG blade, which stands for flat top grind. If you search for that, you'll find it. You just need to make sure that the kerf that it cuts is 1/8 of an inch. And if you're interested in building this jig, plans are available on my website, and there's a link in the description that'll take you right there. While I still have this blade in the saw, I'm going to make the grooves in the ends of the top. And what that's for is what's known as a breadboard end. I'm going to be putting these on the end of the top, and the tongue that I cut on those will fit into that groove. On Sunday, October 25th, I'll be hosting a Maker's Mob Foundational Series on successfully setting up your workshop. I'll be going into detail on how I've set up my shop and a lot of the stuff that I've learned over the past 10 years while you've watched me on YouTube. Along with this series, you'll also get access to all of my tutorials that are already up, plus woodworking projects from YouTube's top makers, Jimmy DeResta, the Samurai Carpenter, Frank Howarth, John Peters, and Neil Paskin. They all have projects live inside the Maker's Mob. The doors for registration will close on Sunday, October 25th, and that's so that everyone can start at the same time. To access this event, simply click the link in the description below, and I'll see you on the inside. Now that I have the slots cut, I can temporarily put the box together. And I'm doing this mainly to check how the disc fits in here. And I can see that this is actually a little bit sloppy. So to fix that, I can either recut the box joints on both of the end panels, making the fingers just a little bit longer, or I can take a little bit off the shoulder of the joint where it goes together in the corner, and that will pull in the sides closer together and take up that slack. I wanted to make this box as low profile as possible so the discs actually stick up above the top. And that might look like a mistake, but I swear it was intentional. So to make it so that the lid actually closes, I need to cut a cove in the underside. I'm going to do that on my table saw, taking a little bit at a time in multiple passes until I have enough clearance. When I made that adjustment so that the discs would fit better, it pushed the fingers of the box joint out a bit so they're not flush with the side anymore. And so I set up this simple auxiliary fence to cut them off flush. I thought it would be neat to carve the lettering into the side of the box, and so I used my laser printer to print it in reverse, and then wetting it with acetone will transfer it to the wood. I don't have any of that, so I'm using lacquer thinner. The original blood slide box had metal hinges, of course, because most cheap boxes do. But for this one, I wanted to do a wooden hinge. Now this is a fairly simple one, just to show what's possible if you're interested in doing this yourself. I let the finish dry overnight, and now I can load in the discs. That little bouncing sound that they make is pretty satisfying, actually.